Imagine a generation growing up with unlimited access to the most powerful stimulus the human brain has ever encountered. A teenager sits alone in a dark room. A phone screen lights up. With a single swipe, thousands of images and videos appear. The brain reacts instantly. Dopamine floods the reward system. Curiosity turns into habit. Habit turns into routine. But very few people ever stop to ask a deeper question. What exactly is happening inside the brain? And more importantly, what happens when the brain becomes dependent on artificial stimulation? Tonight, we explore the psychology, neuroscience, and social impact of one of the most controversial habits of the digital age. This is the story of how modern technology interacts with one of the oldest biological drives in human history. The digital revolution. For most of human history, explicit material was extremely difficult to access. It required physical magazines, hidden stores, or secret exchanges between individuals. But everything changed in the late 1990s with the rise of the internet. Suddenly, explicit material was not only accessible, it was infinite. Streaming websites appeared, search engines improved, smartphones placed high-speed internet directly into people's pockets. For the first time in human history, a person could access thousands of explicit videos within minutes. The scale of exposure became unprecedented, and the brain, which evolved thousands of years before modern technology, was not designed for this level of stimulation. When do people first encounter it? Studies suggest many people encounter explicit material during adolescence. For some, the first exposure happens accidentally, a search result, a shared link, a social media algorithm. Others encounter it through curiosity or peer influence. Adolescence is a critical stage of brain development. During these years, the brain is especially sensitive to rewards, novelty, and emotional experiences. This sensitivity helps young people explore the world and learn quickly, but it also means that powerful stimuli can leave a strong imprint on developing neural circuits. The brain remembers what produces strong rewards, and it tends to seek those rewards again. The brain's reward system. To understand why pornography can become such a strong habit, we must first understand the brain's reward system. Deep inside the brain lies a network of structures responsible for motivation and pleasure. One of the most important chemicals involved in this system is dopamine. Dopamine is often misunderstood as the pleasure chemical. In reality, dopamine is more accurately described as the motivation chemical. It tells the brain, pay attention, this is important, do it again. Dopamine is released during many natural activities: eating food, achieving goals, social connection, learning new skills, romantic attraction. But the intensity of dopamine release can vary depending on the stimulus, and certain types of stimuli can produce extremely strong dopamine responses. The power of novelty. One of the most powerful triggers for dopamine release is novelty. The human brain is naturally curious. New experiences activate exploration systems in the brain. This curiosity helped our ancestors survive by encouraging them to explore new environments and discover new resources. But modern technology can exploit this same system. Online explicit content often presents endless novelty, new faces, new scenarios, new visual stimulation. The brain interprets each new stimulus as something potentially rewarding, and dopamine continues to spike with each new discovery. The habit loop. Habits form through a simple psychological pattern: trigger, action, reward. Over time, the brain begins to automate this process. A feeling of boredom might trigger the urge to open a website. The action follows automatically. The reward, dopamine, reinforces the behavior. Eventually, the behavior becomes almost automatic. The brain begins to expect the reward whenever the trigger appears. This is how habits become deeply embedded in neural circuits. When habits become difficult to control. Not everyone develops problems with pornography consumption. Many people consume it occasionally without major disruption to their lives. However, some individuals report difficulty controlling their usage. Several factors can contribute to this pattern: stress, loneliness, anxiety, boredom, sleep deprivation. When the brain is seeking relief from discomfort, it naturally gravitates toward activities that produce fast dopamine rewards. Pornography can become one of those quick rewards. Psychological effects. Some individuals report several psychological changes when usage becomes excessive. These can include reduced motivation for everyday tasks, difficulty concentrating for long periods, increased reliance on artificial stimulation for excitement, unrealistic expectations about relationships and intimacy. It is important to remember that experiences vary widely between individuals. Human behavior is influenced by many factors, including environment, personality, and lifestyle. But understanding the brain mechanisms helps explain why certain habits can become difficult to change. The impact on relationships. Relationships require emotional connection, communication, and trust. Media portrayals of intimacy often exaggerate or simplify complex human interactions. When expectations are shaped by unrealistic media, misunderstandings can occur. Healthy relationships involve empathy, patience, and communication. Real intimacy is built on emotional connection rather than scripted scenarios. Understanding this difference is essential for maintaining healthy partnerships. Breaking the habit. For individuals who feel their habits are becoming unhealthy, change is possible. The first step is awareness. Recognizing triggers helps break the automatic habit loop. Next comes environment design. Reducing access, limiting screen time, and removing triggers can help weaken the habit. Replacing the behavior with healthier activities can redirect the brain's reward system. Exercise, creative hobbies, learning new skills, social interaction. These activities also release dopamine, but in a more balanced and sustainable way. Building a healthier life. A healthy life includes balance. Healthy sexuality is based on communication, emotional intimacy, and mutual respect. Real relationships grow through shared experiences, trust, and understanding. Technology will continue to evolve, but the human brain still follows ancient biological rules. Understanding these rules gives us the power to make better choices. Closing message. The digital world has created opportunities our ancestors could never imagine, but with those opportunities come new challenges. Understanding how the brain works is the first step towards living a balanced life in the modern world. Awareness creates freedom, and knowledge gives us the ability to shape our habits, rather than letting our habits shape us.